All right, folks, pounds time. Because if you missed the earnings call, I'm going to recap pretty much the highlights of what have been discussed by Aaron CEO, by the CFO of the company, so that you will be caught up to date. So first off, let's go over the earnings itself, and before we do that, let me just, as always, I don't know, for whatever reason, the stock is always down significantly after earnings, which does absolutely no sense. All right. Well, somehow it does, because people will argue that this was already baked into the rallying in the price that we had for the last past 5 days. But I'm not expecting, I kind of surprised. Well, I'm not surprised to see a 7%. And at some point, it was down to 11%, back to the $16 a share after hours following earnings, So I wouldn't be really mind that, just because we've been here many times, even though the news are good. Yeah, the news are good, because if you look at this first thing, AMC just announced a special dividend in the form of an APE preferred shares. APE standing for AMC Preferred Equity. yeah, right. So even though the stock is falling, let's unfold exactly what the company disclosed as earnings. The special dividend of one AMC Preferred Equity Unit will be issued for each share of AMC Class A common, which you and I are holding or have been buying and continue to hold, for those of you doing the same, per value of 1 cent per share, outstanding at the close of business day, August 15. AMC has applied to list of AMC preferred units to the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol APE. The symbol is now to the investor who turned the company into a meme stock called the Ape Nation. Now, AMC also reported its second quarter results after market close, and reporting a narrowing loss and revenue in line with analyst expectations. Now, something which is really funny is MarketWatch is telling us that AMC reported a narrow loss. So there was a loss, but the loss was not as big as expected. But look at what Reuters is telling us. Reuters is telling us AMC offers special stock dividend post bigger loss. So what is it? The data. The numbers. The numbers are telling us that the movie chain reported a net loss of 121.6 million, or a net loss of 24 cents a share, compared with a net loss of 344 million, or a net loss of 71 cents a share in the same period last year. So for me, it's bullish. All right. What is even more bullish is the fact that AMC second quarter sales were $1.1 billion compared to just $444.7 million in the same period last year. All right. The analyst survey by FactSet were looking for sales of 1.168, or a net loss of 31 cents. But actually, there was a net loss of 24 cents. So actually, AMC just beat earnings on that sense. All right. So another number to look at is the AMC attendance number. So AMC attendance number of 59 million people at the theater globally, up 168% from the 22 million attendees in the same quarter a year ago. So we would like to extend a special thank you to Dr. Strange. This is thanks to these big movies, Elvis Presley, Tom Maverick Cruise. This is actually what he mentioned during the conference call. And so people arguing that movie theaters were dead. Clearly, it is not. Now, the thing is, when you also read at this, the EBITDA, all right, which is the earning before interest, taxes, deductibles, adjustments, was $106 million. So actually, they had what we'll call a margin. Think of it as, this is our income before we start paying off some expenses. It's 106 million compared to a loss of 150 million the same period last year. Look, Wedbush had forecast that this adjusted EBITDA will be just 16 million. So if I look at the EPS, the earnings per share, if I look at the revenues, if I look at the EBITDA, things are telling me, I look at the attendance, things are telling us that, hey, the company is doing better, all right? The company is doing better. Now, things you may not have heard or read in this that have been said and discussed during the earnings call, first thing first, the 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 the, the stock dividend. All right. Now, the stock dividend, look at it as, well, it's gonna be a different stock, which will be issued to only people owning AMC stock as of now. All right. So it's gonna be a 1 cent dividend, which also kind of relate to or translate to that APE, the ape stock, which will be also trading at the New York Stock Exchange. So that is something really, really good, really, really interesting, because I think it's a genius way from the company, from Adam Aaron, to actually look at this, expose and use this as a share account, because they wanted to issue additional shares. But at the same time, we said no. All right. Remember the 500 million shares? We said no. All right. But now doing so, we're clearly having another stock, but only issued to people holding AMC stock. So it will clearly expose the short sellers and the synthetic shares that are existing in AMC, actually, because those will only be issued to people holding AMC stock. All right. So it's not a dilution. Why? Because this is not shares that are being open to the public. These are shares that are only being, as I mentioned, offered and distributed to people already holding AMC stock. All right. So the other thing is, because it's not a dilution, see it as a stock split. All right. Pretty much like what GameStop did, but instead of doing a 2-to-1, we're doing a 1-to-1 with a different stock, trading with a different symbol, with a different ticker, and people will be actually able to buy it just because it's a public company. It's a public traded company in the market, but it will only be issued to you having AMC stock. And then if you want to sell it, then that's how people will be able to buy it. All right. So the company is doing pretty well. That's the bottom line. But as always, the media is trying to somehow found a way to turn this into a negative, because it's still a loss. But when you actually dig, as we just did, you can see that there is progress. And let me finish with this. The numbers on sales and revenues for next year is going to be billions per AMC estimates, billions above what we already will have in 2022. So the shorts can choke on this. More to come on other videos. Stay tuned, folks.